up and welcome. I'm the one and only West Coast King, and welcome back to, I guess we'll just call this the MLS career mode now, because last episode I left it up to you guys as to decide the fate of this career. Do you want to see us stick with Orlando for another season, end the series completely and start over with a new team, or keep the series going but move to a new team within this career mode? And you guys voted, and it was unanimous. 72% of you said stay with this career mode, but move to a new team. So that is what we're going to be doing. And before we do that, I just want to say the Orlando career was one of the most fun careers I've ever done in FIFA. It had so much support, and so many of you guys gave me so many ideas and chimed in every episode. I really enjoyed it. It's one of my favorite career modes I've ever done, and I really did enjoy it. And I would have easily stuck around for a fourth season if that's the way the voting had gone. Even if it had been close, maybe a 50-50. I would have stuck with Orlando for one more season, but 72%, I can't go against that. So we will be moving on from Orlando. And when I found out that that was going to be the verdict, and that's what you guys wanted to do, I went through the comments to see what teams you guys were suggesting me to take over. And I think it came down to two. The first one, DC United. The second one was FC Dallas. And I kind of weighed the pros and cons of both teams. Dallas is not the same team that they are in real life, or that they would be at the beginning of any career mode. They don't have their main players. They don't have the core players that you can build a team around, like Fabian Castillo, Kellen Acosta, Jesse Gonzalez. They don't have those players anymore. This is a shell of FC Dallas, essentially, is what's left. They have Barrios, that's okay. They have Darwin Serra, who we included in the Acosta deal, because remember, Acosta's now in Orlando. But other than that, I mean, there's just not a lot left. And if I were to do an FC Dallas career, I would really like to take over Dallas as a fresh career mode. Get all those players that they currently have and build a team around that core, and have to decide, with the designated player rules, who stays, who goes. I think that would be a more interesting FC Dallas career. So that leaves us with DC United, and honestly, out of all the jobs that are available, this was the one that was the most appealing to me. DC United is the most accomplished franchise in MLS. They have 4 MLS Cups, 4 Supporter Shields, and 3 US Open Cups to their name, and now they sit in last place in the Eastern Conference. Only Seattle was worse than them last season. On top of that, they have the financial takeover, so we're going to be able to go out and get a huge player from Europe somewhere, some enormous, hopefully world-class player to bring in and be the centerpiece of this team. If you look at the roster right now, that starting 11, I would say only Keita, which is the Drogba regen, is a player that we could build a team around. So we'll keep Keita. The rest of the team is kind of a clean slate, which I really do like. So I think this is the most appealing option out of all of the teams, and it was one of the teams that was the most supported in the comments as well. So DC United is going to be the team that we're going to take over. It's going to be a big reclamation project. It's going to be very, very difficult. Like I said, not a lot left there to build around. On top of that, in the Eastern Conference, there sits Orlando. And as a team that finished last place, they want us to reach the playoff quarterfinal. We have to go through Orlando no matter what. That is going to be very, very difficult, and just kind of adds another layer of intrigue to this career mode as well, which I really like. So let's get in here. Let's take over DC United. Let's rebuild them into the franchise that they once were, and hopefully bring DC United back to glory. Alright, so we actually had to go in a couple of days into season number 4 before we actually got the email confirming that they want us for this job. But now it is here. I think, we're on January 4th now, so 4 days in. So we have a little bit less time in the transfer window to get things started with. And I haven't done anything with Orlando. I didn't do a single thing with them. I want to make sure that they had, I didn't want to send anybody out on loan or anything for them. They have a fresh start for this season as well. So let's go ahead and accept this job offer and get in with DC United. So the first thing we need to do as we get into this new team is kind of run through a squad report. And every time I start a new career mode, which is kind of what this is, I like to do a get to know you episode, as I call it. Kind of let you know what's on the team, where we stand, and kind of let you guys give me some ideas on where you think we should go from here. So I'm gonna let the squad report roll through on the side, like usual, and I'll just kind of talk about what I've noticed about this team and some points of emphasis going forward. And the first one, I think goalkeeper, we need an upgrade, definitely. Center mid, definitely another point of emphasis. We could use some better center mid. It's definitely one of the weak spots on this team at this point, which is sad considering they had Perry Kitchen for so many years that really anchored that midfield, and they don't have that anymore. So definitely looking for a new midfielder in there would be a good idea. And they have 12 strikers on this team. 12! We could definitely do with selling most of those strikers and getting some more money in, like we need the money, honestly, at this point. But still, we could sell those strikers and get some better prospects in at the very, very least. So take a look at all the players and let me know what you think. Who do you think we could definitely sell, and what positions do you think need the most upgrades? And also in this episode, obviously the main selling point for DC was their huge transfer budget with that financial takeover. So I've compiled a list of players, and I'll just scroll through them that I put together that are the biggest and baddest boys that we could possibly bring in at this point, honestly. And I do want to kind of limit it to people that are kind of past their prime, but are still really, really good. So people that, not like Neymar or Bale, that are very much still in their prime, but players that are kind of, you know, of either approaching 30 or past 30 that we could bring in that would be realistic kind of MLS type players at some point down the road. So I also noticed I left Messi on this list, and Messi and Ronaldo would be the two players that would be on this list that we can't afford both their transfer fee and their wages right now. So we can't buy them and bring them in immediately. They would have to be pre-contract players. Messi, I still would like to do. I mean, I think would still be an option. At 30 years old, he'd be 31 next year. If we bring him in on a pre-contract, I think that would be worth the money. Ronaldo, on the other hand, he'd be 33 next year. That's a little bit too old, I think, in my opinion, to really do this, for. So I don't want to do Ronaldo. Messi, though, I would still definitely be interested in. Let me know. Obviously, I said that center mid was a huge point of emphasis. Maybe we bring in Modric right now and look at Messi on a pre-contract. I don't know. Would that be too overpowered, though? That would be my only thing. I don't want to put this completely out of the realm of possibility and just completely redo this team into a Champions League contender. But I'm saying that might be an option. And the one last thing we are going to do in this episode to introduce you to DC is have a look at the contract situation. We have no current designated players. We are still sticking with that designated player rule, remember, but we have no current designated players on this roster. Keita is the highest earner currently at the team. And as far as expiring contracts go, none that are really all that concerning. I mean, I honestly would be willing to let nearly every one of these players go. Obviously, transfer budget's not a big problem, so we don't really need to look to sell them. Obviously, if we could, I definitely would do that in this window. Martinez might be one I want to hold on to because he's still pretty young at 66 overall. Might grow into a pretty decent player, and I said center mid is a definite need on this team. Other than that, though, the only one is going to be, where is he? Where'd he go? Oh, it's right here. Sorry, Kofi Keita. We definitely need to keep him on this team. Let's go ahead and offer him the contract he wants. I told you I kind of want him to be the centerpiece on this roster, so let's go ahead and give him his new contract. So that is really all that there is to show you this episode. Once again, I just kind of wanted to give you guys an idea of what we're getting ourselves into, what the team looks like, and give you an opportunity to give me your feedback before I get into this transfer window and start making moves on this team. And if you have a look at our best possible starting 11, at least in my opinion, this is it. It's kind of, it's really not the best, is it? You can see why they finished last place in the Eastern Conference. It's a little bit sad going from Orlando to this. And once again, with the Orlando City team, I mean, I hope you guys understand. I mean, it's just going to that fourth season. I just didn't think there would be the support there for it, considering we had won everything. There was nothing left for us to do. It made sense to move on and try a new challenge in this series, and we definitely have it. Taking over the last place team, one of the best, you know, former best teams in the league. It just made sense to make that move. I'm excited for it. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun working with that big budget and trying to build a really good team while still staying within the rules of the designated player and all of that. It's gonna be a challenge, but I think it's gonna be a lot of fun as well. So that is gonna be it for this episode. If you are looking forward to this new series, make sure to let me know by leaving a like below. Subscribe if you're new, and I will see you when we come back for some more DC United career mode. See ya.